Tweed. I just watched the Game Awards 2015 and I'm pretty sure it gave me a hernia. It's really sad when after watching for the first time, I can say with complete confidence that two of the highlights were Mega 64's presence and the blunt blow to Konami, but at this point the latter can really be added to the pile. Hell, I didn't even mean to start doing this kind of thing this early, but the awards show pissed me off enough for me to make this video. This isn't me saying all video games are going down the tubes, but gaming awards, like games, can have good years and bad years, and this one was damn awful. And speaking of damn awful, I wanted to watch the show more than once to make sure that I at least half knew what I was talking about, and good lord did they screw up something with the upload of the stream. The audio does these cuts every couple of seconds, which takes you right out of the experience. I'm amazed they have the like to dislike ratio they have. If I had a tinfoil hat, I'd wonder if this was their attempt to cover up why the dislikes even exist. Maybe they realized how terrible the show was and wanted to do a cover-up as long as they didn't mind getting a few extra dislikes here and there. I mean, as of December 5th, the IGN upload had about a 12% dislike rating, and those guys don't even have the audio problem. Also, they didn't have the audio problem. Remember that these were the guys that hosted the damn thing, and these guys weren't. So the opening to the show was okay. Again, Mega 64's injection of humor made it a lot more bearable, but not a lot of the rest of it. Even Coffee Stain's DLC announcement trailer kind of fell flat. Its attempts at meta humor get significantly less funny once you realize meta humor is literally the punchline, but to give credit to them, at least 6 minutes of introduction leading up to them kind of sobered me. So I'm willing to believe that it would have been a lot more funnier if I just watched it exclusively. So blah blah blah, let's talk about nominees to hype up the crowd, and in order to keep everyone from falling asleep, let's put in Mega 64 every 15 or so seconds. Seriously, were any of these other names even memorable? I mean, apparently Greg Miller was for obvious reasons, but I didn't really laugh at his parts. I don't really have a reason to dislike the guy or doubt his works, but he seems kind of stiff. Like, more so than the others. Or at least some of the others.
That game is sock car, right?
Her story, which I think is legitimately an act of genius.
An unintentionally hilarious moment for me in this intro was when one of the commentators basically summed up everyone's praise for Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 is a Fallout game, and I love Fallout games.
Tee-hee.
My Game of the Year pick, because of just how big of a fangirl I am for it, is Fallout 4. But honestly, all the titles that are up for grabs are all phenomenal.
Yeah, smooth way to make your bias slide under the radar. You don't think maybe that would have been a great concluding statement if you put that at the end when all these submissions had been revealed?
Super Mario Maker, that's a feat of brilliant engineering.
Okay, I think we can safely say at this point that this guy has a tendency to overstate. Don't put him in the same room as Peter Molyneux. The universe might implode.
Metal Gear Solid 5, baby. It's gonna win.
Solid crop job, bro. Sucks you couldn't afford a green screen bigger than Rocco. You prepared this video to play before the actual live streaming took place, right?
Funny GIFs and memes are what Tumblr's all about. Funny GIFs.
Jeff, I thought you were better than this. Or is it Geff?
This year, the Industry Icon Award is presented to Westwood Studios. They're responsible for really inventing the real-time strategy genre with Dune 2 and Command & Conquer.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I'm ready to win the Game Awards. Trending Gamer of the Year, Greg Miller.
Wow, Greg, you modern Nostradamus. I hope I'm not the only person to say this, but Greg was the only guy in the list of trending gamers of the year that I had to actually Google to find out what he does. And even then, somehow it's a chore to find anything other than podcasting he's done. No immediate playlist showing his Let's Plays at all. Ugh. He's not a bad Let's Player by any means, frankly. Kinda low energy. And I see you need to box the area around you instead of just green screening it. Pleb.
Make sure to remember to use the hashtag #TheGameAwards on social media tonight.
Oops. I genuinely think the bwah sting from the Tomb Raider trailer was straight up lifted from Inception's trailer. Listen.
And the first category is Best Family Game.
Despite everything just about everybody else is saying, I think this was a nice category. A lot of us are quick to forget that the majority of games that are put into the spotlight are at least in the T rating. When people talk about universal inclusivity, I think it's a nice touch to note that some gamers actually pay attention to the ESRB. Hope they treat this category with respect.
The winner of that category is Super Mario Maker, so congratulations.
Well, that was anticlimactic. Don't get me wrong, I could have lived without seeing yet another goddamn trailer for Infinity, but have some respect, guys. Maybe they did this because the all-adult crowd doesn't really give a crap about kiddie games. Still, adults seem to be really into Splatoon.
The best fighting game of the year, which is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, one of the worst ones in the series? Cool.
We very much appreciate this award.
Wait, what? Are they just quietly giving away every award backstage? Is this day 2 of the event? I feel like I'm missing something here.
So now the fan reaction to Mortal Kombat X. I mean, how has it been?
It's been amazing. Like for us to have, possibly the most successful version of it is just amazing, and this just kind of like...
So now we move on to the actual meat, the awards. I mean, the awards that they were comfortable with presenting on a stage. Maybe the other two were given beforehand, so no one had the chance to boo the winners off stage. So, best multiplayer.
And the Game Award goes to...
Smooth, Lara Croft.
Splatoon!
Now, everyone's crying bloody murder over Halo 5, but I'm not too distraught. Nintendo made a shooter, made it E, and made it fun. Let's see Microsoft pull that off.
Splatoon also wins Best Multiplayer.
What the hell do you mean by that? You mean one is done in the proper way and another is just casually mentioned when something wins multiple titles? That would have saved us some time for the Oscars when Return of the King won like 13 awards. There's no need to rush, guys. You're 6 minutes into the show.
Congratulations to Lara Croft Go, which won the Best Mobile Handheld Game category as well.
Okay, seriously, what the hell is going on? We're less than 10 minutes into the actual awards show and you're giving away 5 already. Only 1 was given in an award show like Manor, i.e. on stage, and freaking 2 were announced in the pre-show. That's like starting the Super Bowl a quarter in with a pre-decided touchdown. I'll admit I'm going in this year having not seen the full show last year, but what the hell is going on? Even if this is a tradition, why is it a tradition?
Well, one game that is up for most anticipated game tonight is Uncharted 4. Thieves' End.
Thank God this wasn't an actual awards category. Just kidding, it is. What better way to say that this was a contest of popularity, not substance, to dedicate a category to games that don't exist yet? All aboard the hype train. How much you want to bet that all these games will coincidentally fail to meet expectations at launch? Then again, the second you realize a decent but only decent game that hasn't been out for a month has to combat games that had to endure nearly a year's worth of the quick-to-forget nature of gamers, that's the moment you need no more evidence to realize pretty much every category was just hype anyway. Nice empty seats, bro. I have to laugh at how choppy and broken Shaq Fu looks in his own trailer. I don't care how far into development they are, this is what they deemed good enough for the world to see. Speaking of this looks like it shouldn't be here, get a load of how uncomfortable Shaq looks. Looks like the Hobbit if Gandalf was played by Shaq.
All right, congrats to Team Optic.
Is that their name? I don't think that's the name. So it legitimately took me until like the 3rd watch time to notice this, but Jeff breezed through the best esports player and game like they were nothing. I guess I didn't miss much since I don't really care for esports, but damn, blink and you're gone. Speaking of blink and it's gone, the subtitle that shows Counter-Strike Go winning esport of the year. It literally lasts for less than a second. Don't get me wrong. I know from experience that editing text or even shifting text during a live stream is difficult work, but don't think that the little things like this don't get unnoticed. I'm actually pretty damn sure that I'm at least in the first 5 people to notice Rocco clip the green screen back there, if not the first. But go ahead and comment that you saw it first. I don't really care. I don't even care. Also, if this stuff doesn't make you doubt how the little things weren't handled well, I'd like to point out that the Game Awards' own website forgot to indicate who won Esport Game of the Year. This, combined with the fact that they dedicated roughly 7 seconds of screen time to mention it, and I missed that announcement the first few times, made me genuinely believe that they hadn't decided on an Esport Game of the Year and were leaving it up to be decided later. I'd like to take this time to point out that I genuinely believe that they decided this and sheepishly add that I used to be a professional games journalist.
So like I moved it like an inch and I'm doing 360s.
I guess Deadmau5 isn't used to live mice. Let's just forget that this was the most awkward interview I've seen in a long time.
I feel like you're in the movies from playing this game.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're performing later.
Yeah, later.
So what are you going to perform? I hear it's going to be pretty amazing.
It's going to be neat-ish.
Wait for Nolan North and I to die.
I don't really have a comment for this. I just wanted to include it. Awards for Best Narrative. And as a hopeful narrative creator, I think this one is pretty darn important, especially when it's integrated with the game mechanics and not just a glorified file system with a post-dramatic plot. Feel free to think lowly of me because I don't really like her story's following, but I think it's noteworthy to say that this was the only nominee that received minimal to no applause. Oh look, it won. Yay. I mean, its narrative was good, and it's the mechanics and acting I have beef with, at least for a nominee standard, so I'll let this one slide, but just wait until later. I'm not going to tear apart Sam Barlow for not being there for his own award. I'll just mention it and leave it there so you guys can interpret what I'm saying for yourself. And speaking of try to figure out what they just said, Ubisoft Quebec, ladies and gents.
With Far Cry Primal, we take you back to the Stone Age. To 10,000 BCE, to the very first frontier.
I feel legitimately bad for this gentlewoman who is clearly not comfortable with being on camera. I'm not commenting on anything I found both okay and not overly impressive, so the only reason I'm mentioning the fact that Churches played is to state what I just did, and to ask if anyone has heard of Churches before this show, because I sure haven't. And the repetitiveness of the Go 90 ads has officially traipsed into the category of ridiculous. Oh yay. Oh yay. The chicken joke is a masterpiece in this trailer, if only to showcase both how funny the LEGO game's sense of humor was when it started and how unfunny it's become now that they've beaten that horse to a pulp. Good lord, does Sean Layden look stiff. So, Trending Gamer. Now honestly, who gives a flying fadoo? 2 people on this list have a subscriber count in the 8-digit range at this point, so from that you already know that they were nominated out of principle and that they're not gonna win. Now Greggy got a lot of applause when his name came up, so I'm not willing to say his win is exactly a controversy, but in my research I watched a lot of Kinda Funny and it lives up to its name. Total Biscuit kind of owned this year and really shone, and his content is both insightful when it wants to be and frankly just funnier than Greg Miller, IMHO. Why didn't he win? No, seriously, why didn't he win? I'm not asking to prove a point, I just genuinely don't know this. If you do, you know where to go, comment away. And if you're going to use the cynical anti-Greg answer of Greg beating cancer, feel free to look closer at Total Biscuit's personal life. I've no doubt Greg is cool and all, but he's kind of small potatoes by comparison in both subscriber count and in terms of his content from the podcasts and Let's Plays I've seen. Could be I happen to watch his worst though. He sure gave the best thank you speech of the night. Oh Christ, Psychonauts 2. Before you eat me alive, just know that Psychonauts is one of my favorite games ever to this day. In fact, it's because it's so good that I'm so damn cynical about the sequel, and other reasons. But I'll get to that another time. Someday. Maybe. All I'm gonna say for now is that it wouldn't have hurt if the humor in the trailer wasn't so forced. And that's me talking. Me. I love how Tim Schafer basically got on stage to say, hi, the trailer you watched was for this thing which you already know, okay, thanks, bye. Okay, if you can stomach the audio cutouts, I really recommend you listen to Schafer on the Game Awards stream upload because it's raised about a semitone because the uploader decided they didn't screw up the upload enough, and it's downright hilarious. Schafer already has a high voice, and this makes it sound like no human being should ever sound. Thanks to churches for memorizing your script but not bothering to make it seem like you weren't given a clear script. Also, this guy gives me the creeps. Best indie game. This one had a lot of importance and implications, although based on the cheer for Rocket League, it was pretty damn obvious that they were going to win from the start. And apparently the blow of not winning was big enough to some of the runner-ups that they became sore losers and didn't even contribute to the obligatory Game Awards Steam sale. Good on you, Axiom. And, you know, her story. Oh, also, Rocket League won Best Sports/Racing Game, so no need to mention them. Who even cares about the other nominees? The tribute to Iwata was a nice touch. It was also nice to acknowledge that there was a time for marketing, but this dedication was well-deserved. And then the obnoxious music and applause greeted Reggie as he readied to talk about Iwata. Nice job, Game Awards. Yeah, nice wave, guys. You really coordinated well with the tempo, and with each other. Hey, yay, a Go 90 ad. FYI, for every one that I mentioned, there are about 4 more that happen in the stream. Ah, don't worry, the timing and placement for that Green Room title was spot on. This EA masturbation is getting annoying. This is like the 3rd time they've promoted Battlefront in this room alone. So it's about this time that they realize they're more than halfway through the night and still have over half their awards to give out despite going ham in the first 10 minutes, so they unceremoniously give the award for impact to Life is Strange. Despite my tone, not undeserved at all. Best fan creation went to Portal Stories that I know zero about, so I'm not gonna comment on it, but the idea that fan creation is even a category shows actual interactivity between fans and content creators, so I'm all for it. That said, this is the most awkward pacing I've ever seen in an awards show. At this point in the night, they've given away 14 awards, including the last 2, and remember that 5, aka more than a third, were in the first 10 minutes of the show. I can understand at this point if they're on a time constraint why they gave out several awards quickly without fanfare and why Tim Schafer was only allowed to speak as much as his lungs could provide before taking a second inhale, but plan this better, guys. If you could make 5 awards fly off the shelf in 10 minutes, you could have easily made this better. Tell Shaq to talk faster or something. Oh, look at that. Psych! Another award. See? 3 in 2 minutes. Somehow I think you could have spaced these out a bit better. Even just get Tim Schafer when he's up on stage to announce Game for Impact and tell him it needs to take 2 minutes maximum. Bam. Done. Well, this one is for Best Developer, and for the life of me, I don't even know why Nintendo was nominated. Sure, this year they released 2 decent games, but apart from that, the year's been kind of an embarrassment. The biggest highlight of the year, and of the show, was due to a fatality. Honestly, since the days of the Wii, no year has Nintendo ever been in their prime. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, CD Projekt Red won, and it was revealed in a frankly really well done skit from Conan O'Brien. Honestly, nothing intentionally made me even smile since Mega 64's last appearance from the intro before this, so it was warmly welcomed in my heart. Plus, it was a creative way to reveal the nominees. Oh look, they were revealing the nominees anyway. Cool. Why even have Conan? This is taking up time and necessitating giving out 3 awards in the space of a few minutes again. Okay, the nominees for art direction were an absolute joke. Art direction means so much more than it looked really nice, or the graphics were good, or but Batman's face looked realistic. Art direction implies something that looks unified, beautiful, and able to stand the test of time. It's what keeps us talking about Wind Waker long after Twilight Princess. It's what made Borderlands memorable and Ghostbusters the video game less memorable despite getting roughly the same rating in the same year. Save for Bloodborne and Ori, every game looked exactly the same if you were standing 20 feet away and squinting. A role-playing, realism-inspired game that uses usually one dull color to unify what's happening on screen. Don't get me wrong, they look very realistic, but they don't have the best art direction. It means more than realism. Laugh me off, but in terms of art direction, freaking Rocket League was a better contender than MGS5. How about Splatoon? It didn't win enough awards. This is when Axiom Verge should have made its comeback. Maybe it didn't deserve to win, but it sure had a better art direction than Metal Gear Solid 5. In 2 years, MGS5 is not going to be memorable in terms of graphics, except perhaps for its realism at the time, but Axiom Verge, or games like it, are going to live on. You could say in many ways that MGS5 excelled, and by all means its art direction was good, just not good enough to seriously have a chance to beat Ori in the Blind Forest. 90% sure that guy yelled, "Get fucked." Tasteful. Be sure not to miss the 2 awkward "I thought there was gonna be a handshake" moments where Jeff is talking here.
Gosh.
Gotta love how careful everyone is with how strong the language is after multiple trailers swore and Conan talked about his penis.
Don't stop streaming.
Well, that sounded desperate. Oh hey look, 2 Go 90 commercials in a row. I kid you not, 2 in a row.
343 Industries.
Sweet mic cut, bro.
How are you?
Justine, how are you?
Doing good.
Sweet mic hand exchange, bro.
We're nominated for Family Game of the Year, which is totally awesome.
Did he arrive late? Did no one tell him that the winner was already decided and then he lost? Or imagine that. The guy representing the Disney game shows up to play Star Wars games. I wonder why.
I mean, I definitely love Darth Vader. Hey, I have something special for you, Justine.
Where was he keeping that?
First worked together about, I don't know, over 20 years ago.
Did this guy not think to come with a translator?
All right.
Awkward.
Don't get too excited, I usually lose.
Yeah, you do tonight, buddy. Best action adventure. How is Ori an action game? Is it action or adventure game? Are the two synonymous now? It was pretty obvious that Metal Gear Solid was gonna win. Almost as obvious as Mark Hamill not winning best performance given he's handing out an award. You know, just like Camilla Luddington at the beginning. It's a consolation prize. It's a feature. From the moment you learn Kojima isn't here, you should realize something fishy is going on. And then bam, the first boo of the night.
Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight, but unfortunately he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept any awards.
Personally, I think it should have been a pick of nominees for Best Art Direction, but whatever. Konami kinda deserves this. The point has come up that perhaps this is an industry standard, but while that justifies why Konami does it, it by no means excuses it. This boo was well deserved, and hats off to Jeff for telling it like it is. Also, pro tip, when you're using spotlights, don't shine them on a section of empty flippant chairs. Given Quiet's blatant sexualization and, you know, boobs, in Phantom Pain, there's no more ironic a way to pay respect to Hideo Kojima than with a flat girl. At least the choir did a great job. And unceremoniously, bam, the winner of Best Soundtrack. And I mean, really? Not Halo or... Alright, cool. I understand Ori not winning. Its soundtrack was great, but it already had its time in the spotlight, and its music had a certain style to it that does suggest niche. Not to mention, what better a time to announce MGS had a great soundtrack than after you hear its music, albeit more public and flatter presentation. It just would have been nice if it was more official and on stage. Well, in this case, I can actually understand it since they had to clear a flipping ensemble from the stage. In fact, it makes me wonder if all the hasty awards, as I'm gonna call them, were just covering up how unusable the stage was at the time. I mean, you can see everyone clearing out right here. Well, whatever. I'm just glad Fallout 4 didn't snag this one away from games that actually deserved it. Oh, hey, look, a game that got kickstarted in 2012. Cool. Way to make Tim Schafer look retrospectively better. I'm really distracted by how much teeth Jade Raymond is showing. Like, I unintentionally tuned her out just imitating the way she moved her mouth.
Who could imagine Metal Gear without the voice of David Hayter?
Oh, damn, throwing shade at Sutherland. Like, that joke wasn't preemptively okayed by him.
Childhood sweethearts. Something like that.
Dat solitary woo at the mention of her story.
I have to put this down. It really is heavy.
Dat solitary boo. And her story wins again, because of course it did.
This is a complete and utter surprise.
Yeah, you're telling me. I think my second favorite part of this award is the fact that either Jade misspoke and said The Witcher 3,
Viva Seifert, The Witcher 3.
or the guy who wrote her card is getting fired, or she thinks like me and didn't want to give her story the satisfaction of having its name given twice in one show. But my favorite part is this guy. In case you guys saw that gif, and yes, Jeff, it's gif, of the disappointed and confused guy and want to know where it's from, with Schadenfreude I can tell you it's at this moment, and let me tell you, he reflects how I felt. Viva's performance had to be a little held back given the situation in the story, but it's pretty obvious the acting wasn't being praised here as much as what she was acting for. Otherwise, everyone else was a stronger contender. You ask me, this victory clearly belonged to Ash. Hey Viva, who are you playing? This award is supposed to show excellence in portrayal, not the role itself, and Ashley Birch nailed her performance. Her contributions to the character make her the winner for this award. Say what you will about Life is Strange, but damn, she's a good actor.
Victory!
Yeah, that'll earn you points with the internet. Go ahead and gloat when you win something, you probably earned it, but if I know one thing the internet doesn't take well besides Sam Pepper supporters, it's gloaters, and both are kinda justified, particularly with something as prestigious as this. The bigger the accomplishment, the bigger of an ass you look like when you're gloating about it, particularly at the award ceremony itself, and you did not do yourself any favors. This just makes me wish Ashley Birch won more. I can't expect a Greg Miller speech from everyone, but ended on a higher note than
Victory!
Like just before you guys came over to my house today to film this, I was like, why are they coming to the suburbs of South Carolina?
I like how every other indie dev's trailer was like, hey, I'm this guy and I enjoy making games, and this guy's trailer plays out like a bad Supernatural knockoff series pilot. Don't get me wrong, Pinstripe looks great, but does this trailer ever scream pretentious? So finally, Game of the Year is mentioned, and that guy is either indicating that something technical has gone horribly wrong or he's completely lost. Witcher 3 deserves to be a nominee. It's beautiful, hyper-realistic for our time, is story-rich, and has a load of content to enjoy. Bloodborne also receives a nomination. Well-crafted and has a genuinely great art direction combined with smooth mechanics. MGS 5, absolutely. Great example of what games can aspire to be. Fallout 4, screw it right off. This game didn't see a month of the daylight and is practically off the hype train, still fresh in our minds, and you're gonna compare that to Bloodborne, a game that had to stand the test of time for the year and showed us how much it earned its nomination? This moment reminded me of that part at the beginning.
Fallout 4 is a Fallout game. and I love Fallout games.
Thanks for describing why everyone cheered for this. It's a good game, but not Game of the Year material. Feel free to disagree, but I have a feeling that your devotion to it will wane and your answer will change by August next year. And guess what? That's what Bloodborne had to go through. Plus, it has the most annoying fan base of 2015. Want an award? Here, worst fan base of 2015. How do I know this? Because the video is littered with whining comments from fans about the game getting no awards, and as soon as someone dared challenge the opinion with the reasonable idea that compared to other games that stood the test of time, it's still a bit of a bore that wears a lot of gamers out after a few weeks, that commenter gets slammed as someone who most likely plays Call of Duty. Yeah, can we make this a rule, please? It's like Godwin's Law. If you retaliate to any criticism with, yeah, well, you most likely play Call of Duty, you're just immediately wrong. Just flat out wrong. I love how polarized gamers can be.
You guys ready? And the winner for Game of the Year 2015 is The Witcher 3.
Well deserved, if you ask me. It was a fair load of crap this year, but at least the last award ended on a high note. Witcher 3 was a genuinely good game, and it was nice to see it didn't play second fiddle to the flippin' hype train. It's a shame that it was capped off by a tragically mediocre performance from Deadmau5. I like the idea of the incorporation of Nintendo music, and maybe I'm the wrong crowd for this music, but I didn't find the whole thing to flow or be catchy or even, you know, nice to listen to, except for that bit right after the ghost sheet came off. No offense or anything, but yeah. I played the stream many times to write this, and I can only sit through this piece twice. Plus, performing with your mouse mask off makes the whole thing kinda eh. Oh, that's just it. Well, cool. Whatever. Little abrupt, but I guess I got fair warning that it was over. So the Game Awards 2015 kinda sucked, but really, who can we blame for this? Jeff did a pretty good job for this when you look at it, and blaming the awards ceremony on one game like Her Story would be awful. I'm in no way suggesting that it would be entirely Her Story's fault. None at all. So who can we blame then? The industry? Fallout 4? The toxic fanbase? Konami? Ourselves? I think ultimately this was just a demonstration of gaming in its raw form, and this year particularly the fact that the good comes with the bad just sort of bled through. Gaming is becoming more culturally accepted, and with that comes more blatant marketing, more uncovering of shady practices, and more people joining the consumer base, meaning more idiots that make gamers look bad. Apart from the pacing overall and a few terrible choices, I'm not really angry at the Game Awards, just kinda disappointed. I'm not really sure what I was expecting, but I was decidedly not this. Maybe we can learn from this. Maybe we should actually shrink this event to let it reflect the substance that it actually holds. Because as clever people point out, this really doesn't matter in the grand scheme. Just next year, try to make the thing that doesn't matter suck less, because people are gonna overhype the crap out of it anyway.
And that's a wrap.
Whoa, hey, hi! Thank you for tuning into this whole flipping video. If you appreciate this content and want to see more of it, a subscription and a like go a long way. If you see something in the video that you think I should know or disagree on, leave a comment. I hope I did the Game Awards 2015 justice with my criticism, and I would like to do more videos like this in the future, but they take up a lot of time to make. If you want more immediate content, I'm part of a Let's Play channel which updates fairly regularly, so go check that out. If you want more thought out, well-crafted content like this, be sure to hit that purposefully misspelled subscribe button. If you want to get more context about the Game Awards, go check out the original video. Any and all music I use is in the description. Thanks again for tuning into this whole thing, it seriously means a lot. Hope you enjoyed it. Now go click a thing before I run out of things to say. Oh, and sorry for dragging Fallout 4 through the mud. It's a good game, I just view it very critically and stuff. Go click a thing.